It's the third of 4 big meetings at Oliver's Mount this year as the Barry Sheene Festival, powered by Suzuki, takes centre stage at the Scarborough circuit.
It's a challenging circuit, this, with bumps and humps and gradients. I mean, it's the only real road racing circuit in the UK.
Just look where the fans are, look how close they are, look how much they can get in the paddock area. You're more involved, or they're more involved, and so I think that's a lot to do with it. And as Phil Reed said, it's the only true proper road circuit, I guess, left in the UK. Quite unique. Oliver's Mount is very, very unique, and let's hope it carries on for a long, long time, because I thoroughly enjoy coming here.
So what is it about this circuit that makes it popular with fans and riders alike? This is over the start finish, accelerating toward the Mere hairpin. Then heading up Sheene's rise toward the S's at the top. Then onto the back straight, which has plenty of kinks in it. Brake hard for Mountside, it's downhill, momentum carries you. This is Jeffrey's jump, it's 6th gear and super quick. It's been some year so far for Dean Harrison, success at every track he's been to, and no one here this weekend knows this circuit better than he does. But he does have some stiff opposition. Daley Matheson is certainly in the up-and-coming category. He's a regular competitor at Scarborough.
Usually we come here and our setup's the same every time. We've made a few changes from yesterday morning. For some reason we were just a long way out, whether it just couldn't get the feel. We'd had the suspension serviced and we just weren't quite where we were. So we made some drastic changes yesterday, ready for the race, and we went the right way, fortunately.
Dean Harrison starts in pole position for the modern Junior 600 race, but there's one notable absentee from the front row. That is where the injured Ivan Linton should be. And that is now a hole that the likes of Tom Whedon and Daley Matheson will look to exploit from row 2 if they can. The red lights have just gone on. When they go off, we will be racing, and we are racing, and both Harrison and Hegarty await smartly. We ride with Matheson, who slotted his Suzuki into 3rd as they approach and round Mere for the first time. Harrison electing for the wider line. Hegarty goes tight. Harrison with the speed and the power to pull himself up Sheene's at speed. So it's Harrison, Hegarty with Matheson 3rd, and already a gap back to 4th as they negotiate the S's. Tom Whedon further back than expected, so he could be one to watch. Along the back straight, courtesy of Matheson, he may try a move on the brakes into lockers, but doesn't look quite close enough, and he isn't. So no change at the front as they go into and around Memorial. Another look at the start. The rear-facing view from Harrison. Tom Whedon on 171 gets swallowed up as riders fly by him. Harrison just sweeps across the front of Dan Hegarty to take the lead. Matheson strong from the 2nd row, holds on to 3rd despite the presence of Mick Goodings. Well, Harrison is off like a rocket ship and already leaving Hegarty and Matheson to squabble over the runner-up scraps. Whedon, meanwhile, has recovered and is now into 5th behind Goodings, both men regular competitors at Oliver's Mount. Harrison's lead looks to be around the 4-second mark, which is quite remarkable considering this is the opening lap. It could be all eyes on those two then, with Hegarty still ahead of Matheson as they approach Jeffrey's jumps. Harrison goes airborne. And no sooner are you over the jump, but you're on the brakes as you continue to drop down to Farm Bends, the lowest part of the course and also the newest. Harrison already out of that section and crossing the line to end lap 1 and begin lap 2. This is the approach into Mere. Tips into the hairpin, followed by Hegarty with Matheson 3rd. Goodings has 4th, but also Whedon for company with Mike Norbury in 6th. Look again at Matheson's front wheel as it goes light over Jeffries. Three Kawasaki's, a Suzuki and a Triumph in the top 5. The ZX6 proving a very popular supersport machine, just like the ZX10 in Superbike, which is very much the weapon of choice in that class. Daley Matheson on the GSXR 600 Suzuki. Here comes the race leader into Drury's, and he's destroying the opposition. Dean Harrison showing his quality here today. Riding with Dan Hegarty. He's being backed once again by RTR Racing this weekend. Now this is Wayne Humble just ahead of Brad Vickers with Darren Cooper at the back. He was 7th, but now down 4 or 5 places. Harrison still leads, but the gap appears to be the same as they come to complete lap 2, and Whedon's now 4th, having passed Goodings. Whedon may just get involved with these two, but he will have to go some. 6 seconds now the distance between Harrison and Hegarty, who we ride with. Matheson still on his tail, and the race leader becoming something of a disappearing blip in the distance. Harrison into the S's. Many racers will tell you the longer you lead a race, the longer it seems to go on, but I don't think that will be the case this time. Harrison has built up a huge cushion, and we're not even at halfway. Humble ahead of Vickers and Callum Ward, who's made it a 3-way fight for 7th. Hegarty still appears to be managing 2nd place ahead of Matheson, who won't have given up on 2nd just yet. Into Mountside, and Matheson still close, but not close enough to spring a move on Hegarty. Oh, and Matheson out of shape. Harrison has long gone through as Matheson continues to hound Hegarty. Into Mia Hairpin. Humble followed by Ward. Then it's Vickers with Cooper now ahead of Mark Goodings. Riding with Matheson into the S's. He just doesn't seem to be able to get as close to Hegarty as he'd like, so he can't even begin to think about it. Oh, he's down! Down goes Daley Matheson as he got on the power out of the S's. Harrison into Drury's. Let's hope Matheson's okay. Here's a replay. I'm not sure we'll learn too much from this angle as to what caused the spill. But as he gets on the power, down he goes. There is Matheson on his feet, thank goodness. He celebrated his birthday a couple of days ago as well. Harrison continues to be head and shoulders above the rest. He just has farm bends to negotiate, and victory will be his. It may have been different had Ivan Linton been fit, but they will square up to one another on a racetrack another day. Harrison takes the checkered flag, and it's another win for him at Oliver's Mount. This is how this one winds up, with Hegarty in 2nd ahead of Whedon, Goodings, Norbury and Humble, but no one could catch Harrison. Coming up next, it's the turn of the sidecars to take to the Oliver's Mount circuit. It's the annual Barry Sheene Festival at the Oliver's Mount racetrack at Scarborough, and this year is the 40th anniversary of Sheene's first 500cc World Championship title. It's not just the solos here this weekend, there's also the sidecars. Greg Lambert and passenger Julie Canepa can't wait to go racing.
It's a great circuit and it's a good day, there's a good crowd here, and we're trying to mix it with the classics and things now and try and get a few more people here, and it's growing and growing, bigger as Scarborough, and it's a good road race, you know.
It's the first time I've been with Greg at this pace, and so it's really opens my eyes up for the pace that I've previously done. Yeah, it's pretty scary out there.
First leg winners Steve and Matty Ramsden roll up to their pole position berth for this, the second of 3 sidecar races this weekend. On row 3, providing our pictures, are John and Jake Lowther. Fourth in the opening race. Alongside them on row 3 are Greg Lambert and Julie Canepa, with Dave Wallace and Tony Belsey on row 2. The space on the front row where Lee Crawford and Sam Christie should be as the competitors are told to watch the lights. Out they go, and away we go, and away goes John and Jake Lowther with a demon start. There was a touch of the nitrous oxide about that, and challenging Steve Ramsden for first place, but will have to settle for second as they go into Mere. They certainly took advantage of the gap where Lee Crawford should have been. Up Sheens they go, riding with the Lowthers as we look at the Ramsdens climbing up toward the S's at the top of the circuit. Just tucked in behind in third place is Dave Wallace, who will be disappointed to be back in third, and perhaps equally surprised at how quick John Lowther went past him when the lights went out. They're onto the back straight, notoriously difficult to pass for a sidecar outfit on the straight parts of the track. Most of the moves tend to be at the hairpins, of which there are quite a few here. This is Memorial. We're with John and Jake Lowther. Oh, and there goes Dave Wallace and Tony Belsey up the inside of Palmer's. They move into second place. So as they head into Drury's, it's Ramsden who leads with Wallace in second. Lowther is third. Greg Lambert in fourth. Let's have another look at the start. Super quick reaction as the lights go out from John Lowther, who's on the gas straight away. Now, according to the highway code, that's a signal indicating a move to the right. But in sidecar racing, it may mean something else entirely. In fact, plenty of hand signals from Matty Ramsden. This is a replay of Wallace passing Lowther. Sees the gap, twists the throttle and times it to perfection, and that's the way to do it at Oliver's Mount. Over the line they go, with the Ramsdens leading, Wallace and Belsey second, the Lowthers third, and Lambert and Canepa fourth. Now, having passed the Lowthers, can Dave Wallace do the same to the Ramsdens? They're looking strong. Meanwhile, here comes Lee Crawford and Sam Christie taking no prisoners and taking fourth spot from Greg Lambert. So Crawford and Christie working their way through the field. How much further can they go? It looks to be developing into a two-way fight out front between Ramsden and Wallace. Meanwhile, this is Julie Canepa demonstrating what it's like to be a sidecar passenger at Oliver's Mount and how much hard work goes into being part of a sidecar team. Wallace looks as if he is gaining ground on Steve Ramsden. He's almost attached to him like a trailer as they go around Drury's. Meanwhile, we ride with Jake Lowther still third, but Lee Crawford is not too far behind in fourth. Into Manside, perhaps the most popular spot for overtaking when it comes to sidecars, but the front two crews nail it, while Crawford gains more ground on Lowther. Lambert still there in fifth place. Everywhere that Steve Ramsden goes, Dave Wallace is going too. Now then, John Lowther with the road to himself, but potentially could be attacked on any corner, either on the brakes or on the power out of the turn by Lee Crawford. Lap 3 will begin with Steve Ramsden still number 1 on the leaderboard. Dave Wallace showing in second. Into the Mere hairpin. Further back, John Lowther still holding third and Crawford fourth. And Crawford off into the pits. So Lambert goes back into fourth. Whatever issue Crawford had at the start has continued to be an issue, I think, and they're out. That is a shame. A hint perhaps that Steve Ramsden could be pulling away from Dave Wallace. They're certainly both pulling away from John Lowther, who continues to hold third, and with Lee Crawford at retirement, it looks like the Lowthers will hang on to the position a bit longer at least. This is down the back straight towards Lockers, then through Memorial and into Palmer's. Drury's hairpin, Steve and Matty Ramsden, fresh from competing at the Southern 100 in the Isle of Man. leading once again at Oliver's Mount. A win in the first leg yesterday for Steve Ramsden. 4th place went to John Crowther, who we ride with now. Mount side, and Steve Ramsden should take the perfect line around here, which he does. He knows this track like the back of his hand, perhaps even better. Through Jeffries, super fast as they continue to drop down the hillside. Riding with Lowther in 3rd, and a real sense of speed being so low to the ground. Ramsden chalks off another lap as leader, but he can't afford to relax for a moment as Wallace is still close by in 2nd. Farm Bends, introduced 25 years ago. It's the newest part of this circuit. Carl Fogarty held the lap record for the old circuit on a solo, but if I remember rightly, Eddie Wright had the old sidecar record. That one I'll have to check. Still nothing between the two leading outfits. John and Jake Lowther look to have 3rd in the bag. Well, this was Dave Wallace's last chance of a move on the race leader, but he's not close enough, so it looks as if Steve Ramsden will make it 2 wins out of 2. 4th place will go to Greg Lambert. So it's a 2nd victory of the weekend for Steve and Matty Ramsden, with Dave Wallace and Tony Belsey 2nd, and John and Jake Lowther will take 3rd on the leaderboard. Bellis and Dawson 5th, Lambert and Canepa 4th, the Lowthers 3rd, Wallace and Belsey 2nd, with the Ramsdens occupying top spot. It's the Classic Superbike race, the winner of which will collect the Barry Sheene Trophy. It's a mixture of 1000cc machines, 750s, plus the odd 500 and 250 to boot. Dean Harrison on the front row on the ZXR 750. So there go the lights. Oh, it looks like a good start from David Bell, number 19. He will lead into Mia. Now Harrison might try a cheeky move. No, he won't. He'll just tuck in 2nd place. Plenty of time in this race. 6 laps the distance. Looking back at number 31, that's Brad Vickers. We're on board with Dean Harrison in 2nd place, following David Bell, who's on the FZ 1000 Yamaha. In 3rd place, just behind them. So Dean Harrison might try a move at lockers. I'd be surprised, but he might try him on the brakes. Here he goes. Well, Dean Harrison is full of confidence at the moment, and he's got him. So Dean Harrison leads into lockers. Then it's round Memorial, the little kink. Then back on the power out of Palmer's. Dan Neen now trying to do to David Bell what Dean Harrison did to him. A fantastic line of gold machines for this, the Classic Superbike race. We're on board with the Suzuki of Mark Goodings, the 1100. Oh, that's Neen in 2nd. He's taken the position away from David Bell. Neen on the ZXR 750. Looking back from Goodings. Number 31, Brad Vickers, another of the GSXR 750 riders. So there is Dan Neen, number 14. And the battle still going on for 3rd. 54 is Peter Boast on the Yamaha. Oh, someone just went straight on. That was Peter Boast. So David Bell continues to hold 3rd place, racing in the Ian Bell colours. Dean Harrison down towards Farm Bends, looking good for another win. He's got a handsome lead over Dan Neen. Dan Neen, spectacular over Jeffries. Dean Harrison chalks up another lap with his name at the top of the leaderboard. Back with Mark Goodings, down in 8th place. David Bell still in third. Dan Neal at mere hairpin in second. And here comes Bell. So we're riding in with Dean Harrison, who looks like he's going to chalk up another victory at Oliver's Mount, this time in the Classic Superbike, the winner of which will take the Barry Sheene Trophy. Through Memorial, into Palmer's. Dan Neal still second, David Bell third. It's a battle going on for fourth place involving Phil Stead and Michael Hand. But this man is well away out in front. We're riding with Mark Goodings on the Suzuki. '47. That is Phil Stead. Dan Neal certainly has enjoyed himself in this one. Here comes Dean Harrison then. Checkered flag at the ready. It's another win. So this is how they finished then. Michael Hand taking fourth ahead of Phil Stead. David Bell third, Dan Neal second, and Dean Harrison the race winner. Coming up next at Oliver's Mount Scarborough is the Modern Solo Open race. It's the Barry Sheene Festival at Oliver's Mount Scarborough, a celebration of the former world champion's career with displays and parade laps featuring riders from the past and present. Plus there's plenty of racing for the fans to enjoy as well. Next, it's the Modern Solo Open race. Tom Whedon takes up his position on the grid for this. This is generally big bikes, but it's a mixture as well with the 600s. We're on board with Jamie Coward, a couple of gaps on the grid. Dan Hegarty will be hoping to use the most of his front row position. He's got Dean Harrison alongside him. The lights will go out now. And it's Harrison who nails it. Harrison will get there before Dan Hegarty, as long as he stops it in time for mere hairpin. Oh, Hegarty, I thought perhaps may have just tried to sneak inside, but we're looking back, and Tom Whedon on bike 171. Not a great start from him. There's number 10, Goodings, as well, into the picture as they go up Quarry. Now this is the start. Jamie Coward from row 3, and just look at Harrison go. Whedon in fourth, Goodings there in third. Harrison nice and neat, Hegarty nice and neat. Goodings and Whedon for third place. Jamie Coward also in the picture, in fifth. Harrison, Hegarty, that's who we ride with. He'll have to go some to plug that gap. Third, fourth and fifth cross the line. Mick Goodings from Tom Whedon. Mick Goodings on the CBR 1000. Dean Harrison on the ZX10R. And Dan Hegarty. He is also on the ZX10R as well. Kawasaki's very much the weapons of choice in the big bike classes nowadays. Goodings from Whedon. Jamie Coward trying to get involved with those two if he can. Hegarty, then a big gap back to this battle for third. Goodings coming under more pressure from Whedon as they come into Drury's. Vickers trying to claw up the distance as well. Mountside. Still nothing between these three. If anything, Goodings perhaps has pulled out a length on Whedon. So Dan Hegarty into the mere hairpin, up Sheene's Rise, then onto Quarry. Then at the top it's the S's, the right and left combination. Well, Jamie Coward in fifth place continues to close in on Tom Whedon and Mick Goodings. Through the S's goes Dan Hegarty. And this is on board with Jamie Coward, fifth place, the two guys in front of him, Mick Goodings and Tom Whedon. Through the S as they go. Oh, this could be Whedon's chance perhaps. He gets good drive out of the S's. Harrison absolutely nailing it. And Whedon trying desperately to get past, and he's through. So Whedon up into third place then. Gets by Mick Goodings. It's taken half the race for him to do it. Jamie Coward still trying to close in on Goodings as they exit Mount Side. Dean Harrison through the S's, nice and neat, keeps the power on. Meanwhile, Dan Hegarty is a long, long way back. Coming up to the S's now. But he's secure in second place, it would seem. Having said that, Tom Whedon has closed the gap somewhat, so Tom Whedon getting closer and closer to Dan Hegarty. And Coward looking at Goodings as well. This is Coward, slips inside Mick Goodings. So Jamie Coward on the 750. Dan Hegarty around Mount Side, dropping down the hill. So over a couple of laps to go. Coming up to Jeffrey's jump. Here we go. Harrison at Mere. Again, super smooth. Oh, Dan Hegarty go. Oh, he's down! Something certainly went wrong for Dan Hegarty there. Whether he just braked too late and the wheel went from him, maybe the surface just a bit too greasy. But he had a secure second place in the bag, it seems, and that the handlebar is broken. Here he goes, just trying to turn it in time, just couldn't make it. Maybe feeling the pressure from Tom Whedon, who is in second place, with Jamie Coward in third. So Jamie Coward out of Drury's, down the hillside they drop, under the trees. Here goes Dean Harrison to take the checkered flag. So it's Mark Goodings in fifth, with Mick Goodings fourth. Jamie Coward just missing out on second place from Tom Whedon, and Dean Harrison a comfortable race winner. Coming up next, Oliver's Mound, it's the rerun Bob Smith Spring Cup. The Brollies are definitely out for this. So they're forming up on the grid. Track looking quite greasy. Dean Harrison has had a look around the track and will not be participating in this as he heads for the paddock. So there will be a gap in pole position on the front row where Dean Harrison should be. 104 is Daley Matheson, number 8 Dan Hegarty, they are the front row. Oh, and that was Mick Goodings, who just seemed to have a little blip as he tried to get off the line. We're on board with Daley Matheson, and you can see how wet it is. Spray coming up as well, everyone gingerly making their way around Mere hairpin. Hegarty perhaps going to lose out. Second place to Goodings, not on this occasion. So Daley Matheson it is who leads. Lack of adhesion flags out at the S's, and I think we'll be seeing them everywhere around the track. So unfortunately the rain has come to Oliver's Mount Scarborough this afternoon. And already Hegarty and race leader Matheson pulling away. Matheson just seemed to kiss the grass there as they came into lockers. No stopping for tea at the cafe today. So through Memorial, then into Palmer's. Little dry patches just under the trees. So Matheson, and he's pulling away from Dan Hegarty. This is the rerun Bob Smith Spring Cup that should have taken place earlier in the year. So Daly Matheson down the hill. It might be a little bit drier on the run down to Mount Side because of the covering trees. 17 is Mark Goodings, 80 Darren Cooper. Mount Side, nothing gained for pushing too hard around here. Everything to lose in these conditions. Goodings still in third. Tom Whedon back in fourth. Daly Matheson looking super quick and super confident as he goes over Jeffries into Farm Bends. And it's back on the power. Be careful not to spin it too much. And Matheson scrubbing off the speed. The front nose just wobbling slightly. Stephen Degnan being followed by Tom Whedon as they go across the line. That's fourth and fifth. Goodings in third, Degnan fourth, Whedon in fifth. Whedon on the Daytona 675, the Triumph. Mick Goodings on the CBR 1000 Honda. Degnan on the ZX-10R. Yet it's a GSXR 1000 that leads this race. The Suzuki in the hands of Daly Matheson, which is going through Memorial. So back on the power, out of Palmer's, down to Drury's. The first of the hairpins at the top part of the circuit, and Matheson, well, I don't know if that was by default or design, but big gap back to third as Hegarty goes through. There is Mick Goodings. Seems to have lost Tom Whedon slightly, who is up into fourth at the expense of Stephen Degnan, who has slipped back to fifth. Matheson still can't shake off Dan Hegarty. So over the line goes Daly Matheson then. Dan Hegarty still has a target in his sights. It's the 104 machine of Matheson. Oh, Daly Matheson, that is pushing it. And he may have just scared himself slightly perhaps, but he's allowed Hegarty to catch up, and Hegarty will have the power going up the hill, will he? Unless Matheson can squirt it soon as. This is Matheson up Quarry into the S's. And I think he's just about found his breaking point at Mere, but it might have just shaken his confidence a little bit. And it may have just encouraged Hegarty as well. This is Matheson as the picture goes from left to right, and he just manages to get it around in time. A moment later, and who knows what could have happened. Here we go. Well, 10 out of 10 for style. Not that I think it was planned. So relieved Daly Matheson then, still in the lead, but only just from Dan Hegarty. And it may, as I mentioned earlier, have knocked Matheson's confidence a little bit. He may just be braking sooner than he should do. Oh, he's scrubbing it off again, and Hegarty up the inside. Dan Hegarty goes through, and Daly Matheson concedes the lead. This is still fourth place, Tom Whedon and Stephen Degnan. Daly Matheson losing the lead to Dan Hegarty, who just pushes it inside and says thank you very much. Dan Hegarty then, through he goes, and it's a big victory over Daly Matheson. So Mick Goodings takes third ahead of Tom Whedon and Stephen Degnan. Daly Matheson in second, and Dan Hegarty wins the Bob Smith Spring Cup.
It was my conditions and I didn't win, so hats off to Dan. He did a fantastic job. It's a shame Dean wasn't out there as well to push us all the way, but I thoroughly enjoyed the race.
Yeah, he sort of got me a little bit, and I got a feel for it, and got a good line and got a feeling for it, and I could tell Daly was pushing on hard, so it was just a sort of matter of time, and once he got comfortable I reeled him in and then gapped him a little bit, so yeah, no, good race.
Coming up next, it's the final sidecar race of the meeting. The Barry Sheene Festival at Oliver's Mount Scarborough continues to attract young and old. So the final sidecar race of the meeting here at Oliver's Mount this weekend. A couple of gaps on the grid. But Steve Ramsden and Matty Ramsden start from pole, they're away. And Greg Lambert and Julie Campbell trying to get second place, but they haven't. They had a good start. So through they go. Second, Dave Wallace and Tony Belsey. Greg Lambert just wiping away a few drops of water from his visor. Julie Canepa, that's the view that she's seeing right now, that we're seeing. They go up into the S's. The track looking dry in parts and damp in others. But the Ramsdens, having lost the lead, trying to find it back from Dave Wallace and Tony Belsey. Number 12, Bellis and Dawson going through Drury's. Around Mountside they go. So Lambert and Canepa then, on the gas, down the hill, coming to Jeffrey's jumps. Well, they are closer this time, and through they go, do they? There could be a gap opening up for the Ramsdens, but Dave Wallace says, no, you don't. So Wallace holds on to the lead into mere hairpins, very fast approach, keeps the speed up around the turn. Oh, and they just kissed the bank, the Ramsdens. They are trying. Oh, a problem for Greg Lambert and Julie Canepa. Looks electrical. Oh, they're on their way again. Who knows what that was? Maybe something, a little bit of water getting in, perhaps? It is a two-way fight out in front at Drury's. Wallace from Ramsden. The Ramsdens with 2 victories this weekend. Tony Thurkel, number 10. So then, Steve and Matty Ramsden are going to try and move. Oh, straight into the side of Dave Wallace and Tony Belsey. The apologies go up. So, just too hot in. Wallace turns. Wow, that could have been worse. Thankfully, they both seem rarely unscathed. Oh, maybe that's payback. Maybe that is payback, who knows? They have to drag that from the bank. They're probably the advantage they've got. They could still be first and second. The Ramsdens get away. Tony Belsey trying to drag Dave Wallace and the machine back. So here they go, and anything you do, I can do. And wow. Amazing here at the sidecars. So victory for Steve Ramsden and Matty Ramsden. They go and take it. It's their 3rd win out of 3 races. So Bellis and Dawson with 3rd, Thurkel and Johnson in 4th, Lambert and Canepa in 2nd. The Ramsdens take the win. Wallace retires. The final piece of action today will be the modern senior and non-qualifiers race over 8 laps. Conditions still wet, but it's no longer raining. Dean Harrison and Dan Hegarty on the front row. Mick Goodings on row 2. There go the lights. And away we go. Not such a good start. There's that Matheson that goes through. It is Denny Matheson. Cracking start from him. Dean Harrison just seemed to be caught napping, really. Hegarty will lead them in. And Goodings, I think, is challenging Harrison as well. Oh, Matheson with a little slide as he got on the power, as he twisted the throttle. So Dan Hegarty, will he end the day as a race winner? He's got Matheson behind him, Harrison in 3rd. Goodings has dropped back to 4th. We could be on for the best action of the day here. Hegarty just leading Matheson. Matheson is not close enough to try and move. So then, here we go. Dean Harrison just seemed to get caught out when the lights went. Matheson straight through. No sooner are you on the gas that Matheson is then sliding his back wheel around. Matheson's certainly itching to get past Hegarty. Harrison just sitting there waiting to see what comes his way. Matheson wants to get ahead of Hegarty. He knows that if he's going to beat Harrison, better to get a Hegarty now. Harrison, I think, is going for it. He is. Harrison through on Matheson. So Harrison through to second, Matheson back to third. And Harrison will now be gunning for Hegarty. So it's been a cracking opening lap in this one. Matheson really trying. With Dean Harrison. Mere hairpin, I think, for Mr. Harrison. Unless Hegarty can defend the line into the first hairpin as they start the next lap. Matheson's still very keen in third place. Still plenty of water around. But Harrison not close enough for a move at Mere. He may just be waiting until Mountside again. Or perhaps into Drury's. Plenty of overtaking opportunities at Oliver's Mount. As Matheson gets back on the power-up quarry. Oh, Dan Hegarty with a moment, and I think we'll see Harrison going through. Will we know? Harrison probably reacted to that as well. So not only are you racing your rivals, you're racing the conditions as well. This is into lockers on board with Daley Matheson, still in third place. That moment for Hegarty didn't help Matheson as he tried to close up, and Matheson, he's down. You could see it started to go from him. He tried to save it, but Matheson has gone down. So around Drury's, and Harrison might just slip in inside. Now this is back with Daley Matheson. You can see he's trying to take off the speed, and he's got to go down. What a shame for Daley Matheson. As predicted, Dean Harrison through at Mountside. Something just waving off his fairing on the front right-hand side. Not too sure what that is. May just be a sticker. But Hegarty back into second place. Whatever it was, it's just come off as Harrison went over the jump. Now this is Hegarty being passed by Harrison. He left the gap there and Harrison exploited it. And Harrison, super, getting on the power as well. Someone heading back to the paddock. So Harrison looks as if he'll end his weekend as it's been going on with a victory. Dan Hegarty's had a good weekend at Oliver's Mount as well. He's in second place. And I don't think he'd be pushing it to try and reel in the race leader from this moment on. Oh, another rider has gone down. So Harrison around Mountside, nothing to be gained by pushing. Hegarty will settle for second. So Harrison on his way then to victory. Looks like one of the Goodings will finish third. So here he goes, Dean Harrison, another win at Oliver's Mount. Mick and Mark Goodings occupy third and fourth places respectively, ahead of Stephen Parsons in fifth, with Dan Hegarty second, and another win for Dean Harrison.
Daley went down pretty early and then it left it wide open for me really, so yeah, again, good run.
I've had work to do all weekend, mainly chasing Dean and looking at the tail light disappearing into the distance. But we've done well. The wet race was a lot closer, matching Dean for pace, and the dry races, you know, our setup kept improving, and I think we get within 1.5 seconds of him. So it's been a successful weekend for us.
Yeah, I had to pick my way through from the start. But when it's a bit greasy like that, it's hard work around here in the damp conditions. You've just got to sort of try and flow as best you can, really, which is hard work at the best of times. But no, we got there in the end.
So that wraps up the third of the 4 big meetings at Oliver's Mount this year as we say farewell to the Barry Sheene Festival. And next to take centre stage at the Scarborough Circuit will be the star-studded International Gold Cup in September. See you then.